giving love to someone or giving belief to someone or giving time to someone who looks at you and feels like they're entitled to what you have to give them. They don't see its value. They actually perceive you as weak for wanting to help them. And you know why? It's because they don't even see value in themselves. People who value the people who don't value them more than they value the people who value them do not see a value in themselves. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beyond Words with me, Najwa Zebian. I've always been a firm believer in the power of words to heal what they didn't break and to break what they had no right in breaking. And today's topic is one that's very close to my heart because I was one of these people for most of my life. How to stop people pleasing. If I tell you that I'm a recovering people pleaser, that's an understatement because I still find myself on so many days just falling into the pattern without even paying attention. Like, I'm the type of person, and I'm sure you're the same. The moment I sense that somebody's upset by anything, it could not have anything to do with me, my whole being is like, what can I do to bring you some peace and comfort? What can I do to take that pain away? Like, even if I know I had nothing to do with it, but there's something inside of me that feels guilty if somebody else continues to be upset over something that happened with them or continues to experience any kind of emotion that I had nothing to do with. And it gets to the point sometimes where I wonder whether I did have something to do with it because I'm not able to take it away. Like, do you see yourself in that? Like, when you try really hard to be like, what's wrong? Is everything okay? Is there anything I can do? And the person keeps telling you no. And you feel in a way like your love or your fixing is being rejected. So then you end up feeling like, well, maybe it is about me because they're not accepting my help. What a miserable existence it is to walk around and pick up on everybody's energies and feeling like they're upset at something and something's bothering them. And what can I do to fix that? Like, you're walking around trying to be the problem fixer for everyone, even if you're not the one who caused the problems in the first place. And at the end of the day, you don't even know what you did for yourself. Because your whole definition of who you are is what you can do for other people, what problems of theirs you can fix, what emotions of theirs you can take away. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone who is struggling is let them struggle. Let them figure their way out of it. Let them deal with their emotions. And I'm not saying it in a way that's like, dismiss them and let them deal with their own thing. That's not what I mean. When you've offered your help and they've said no, when you've picked up on their energy, on their pain, and you've said to them, can I help you carry that pain? Like, can I help ease it for you in some way? And they say no to you, that's their decision. Don't sit there and think, oh, but I know better than them. They're isolating themselves. And maybe if I just try a little bit harder, they'll accept my help. Maybe they're trying to develop the skill of knowing how to deal with that emotion that they're going through. Maybe they're trying to become a stronger person in the face of their adversities. Maybe they're trying to become independent in the way that they deal with things. Because maybe their upbringing taught them that their feelings weren't their own, that they always owed the people around them, whether it's their parents or their siblings or their teachers or whatever, that they always owed everybody around them to put on a brave face and pretend like they're not bothered, they're not hurt, they're not angry, just because those around them couldn't handle their feelings. And maybe it's so foreign to them that someone could care the way that you do. And before we move on, I should mention Mila is still recovering from her surgery, so you're going to hear her making some sounds, maybe barking here and there, but she's just trying to heal from her own pain, and I'm trying to give her the liberty to heal that way. People who tend to be avoidant, whether it's in relationships, friendships, people you work with, they just avoid the big feelings. Or if you come to them with a problem, you're the problem now because you brought something up that they really didn't want to deal with or that they really didn't want to become aware of. And the fact that you brought it into their awareness, even though it exists, it's a truth. Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they hurt you in some way. Maybe they were inconsiderate in some way. And the truth is the truth. They did what they did. But you're bringing it to their awareness by expressing yourself. And now the problem is that you brought it into their awareness, that you should have just kept quiet because they're not prepared to face the part of themselves that isn't perfect, that makes mistakes, that knows how to deal with feeling like you've let somebody down. People who are avoidant don't have more power. Listen to that again. People who are avoidant do not have more power just because they put on that the face of, oh, I don't do feelings and I don't discuss things and I don't address things, like just let things be and let life flow. That's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they're throwing problems behind their back, and that's piling up in the back, and there's a reason they're not able to tap into the core of who they are. Because the core of who they are is covered by all the bad things they've done, all the mistakes they've made, all the lies they've told, all the people they've hurt and didn't want to apologize or didn't want to fix what they broke. And it's just piling up. Out of sight, out of mind. But out of sight doesn't mean out of soul, doesn't mean out of body, doesn't mean out of character. Those things are still making them who they are. So when you bring something up to someone and you can tell that now the tables have turned and now you're the villain when really you were the victim. You might be dealing with somebody who's avoidant. You might be dealing with somebody who has not learned how to face the consequences of their own actions because their entire life they were surrounded by people who catered to them, by people who were, I'll do anything other than bringing out this emotion out of you, and I'll do anything just so that I don't get you angry, and I'll do anything so that you can have, the most peaceful life. But that's not treating someone well. That's not loving someone properly. That's shielding them from the truth of life. That's shielding them from becoming a person who takes responsibility for their actions. That's shielding them from becoming a person who acknowledges the power that their actions and their words and their presence have on the people in their life. And here you are, the people-pleasing person that you are, you walk into this person's life and you're like, I'm gonna change you. You're going through a rough time. You're walking through the airport with your luggage behind your back and I can tell it's really heavy, and I'm gonna say to you, let me help you, that's too heavy for you. What about the 2 suitcases you're bringing with you? What about the heaviness you're carrying in your life? But no, you don't care about that because you're so concerned with helping somebody else because you see them struggle that you forget that you are the number one love in your life. You are more responsible for carrying your own problems and your own upsets and hurts and emotions than you're responsible for carrying them for anybody else. You're more responsible for yourself than you are for other people. But you think to yourself, but I have the capacity to help other people, so I should. Reserve your help for the people who appreciate it. Reserve your help for the people who appreciate it. Don't force your help on people and think they'll thank me one day. They'll be grateful for it one day. You know what? I have helped people in my close circle, okay? This is a story within the last 10 years, a little bit more. I have helped people get out of really ugly situations in their life. Like, get out of the darkest places they could possibly be in their life. And I've told myself in those moments, they'll see it one day. Like, I don't need the thanks, and I don't need the appreciation. I don't need the gratitude. I don't need them to see what I've done to help them, because that just makes me who I am. And I'm telling you right now, this is so hard for me to say. The amount of guilt I feel sometimes for exerting so much of myself, helping those who didn't deserve it, when I could have been spending time with my grandma, with my nieces and nephews, with my mom, working on fixing issues that I have within my own family, working on my relationship with my dad. The amount of guilt I carry because I decided to try so hard to get someone out of their darkness when they hurt me to my face. It's not that I regret any good deed I've done for those people. They're out of my life. It's been a long time since I've ever interacted with them. But when I think back, I don't say I regret saving you in some way, or I regret helping you in some way, or I regret being the light that you needed, because that's just who I am. But when I think of all the other people in my life who deserved that energy and that light of mine and my patience and my time and my heart and my soul, I do say to them, I wish I gave you more of what you needed. I wish I was more present in your life. Because you know what? There is a difference between giving help to somebody who sees you for who you are and who appreciates having someone like you in their life, and giving love to someone, or giving belief to someone, or giving time to someone who looks at you and feels like they're entitled to what you have to give them. They don't see its value. They actually perceive you as weak for wanting to help them. And you know why? It's because they don't even see value in themselves. People who value the people who don't value them more than they value the people who value them do not see a value in themselves. And I say this to you not to look down upon them, because we don't do that. Good people don't look down upon people who don't see value in themselves. I say it to you to remind you that it's not coming out of a place of, it's not coming from a credible place that says you are not valuable. I have a doctorate degree in education. If somebody comes up to me and says, you're dumb, does that mean that what they said is true about me? Because the credible source I have about my intelligence is literally right in front of me. It's in the years I've spent. It's in the hours and nights I stayed up working on something and being judged by people who spent decades getting to a position where they could say, you are one of the most highly intelligent people we see. So somebody coming into your life and not being a credible source for judging you in some way, why would you look at them and say, oh, I value your opinion a lot more than my reality? I value your opinion a lot more than my knowledge of who I am. You know what I mean? So I say it to you to remind you that where they're coming from doesn't always have to be the place that you allow yourself to go to. Like somebody who's in, we talked about this in a previous episode, somebody who spends their time in a garbage dump, okay, we're talking figuratively, in a garbage dump of life where there's no morals, there's no values, there's no loyalty, there's no there's just no, oh, I don't know you anything and blah, 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 like that place. When they give you an opinion about yourself that makes you feel like you need to work harder, you need to step into that people-pleasing role that you have and say, no, like, let me explain myself, let me change your way of seeing things and seeing me, and let me just show you, if you were to just see things from a different perspective, like you will feel so much better and you won't be carrying this feeling or this emotion that you're carrying. What you're doing is deciding to visit the garbage dump. You don't belong there. My friend Stefan always gave me this analogy. It's like if you're walking into a place and there's two tables, one of them has doctors and one of them has kindergarteners. And he didn't mean it in an insulting way, like, oh, kindergartners don't know anything about life, or, they're stupid or whatever. It's not like that at all. He was just trying to say, these are people who've gone through life, who've gone through experiences, who've put themselves through a rigorous just life of learning and doing and failing and getting back up and succeeding. Like, they know what it takes to succeed in life. They know the value of having someone like you walk into their life or walk towards that table and want a seat at the table, and they want you there because they know what it takes to get there. And then there's the kindergartners table who they don't know anything about life yet. Yes, they have all this creativity and whatever, but they're going to look at you and they don't know what to look for. They just see you as whatever it is that their mood is that day. They see you based on their level of experience with life. They're just happy to have another person come in. They don't see you fully. Not because something's wrong with them, but because they haven't lived life long enough to value the presence of someone like you. They can't comprehend it. So you walk into a place and you have the kindergartner's table and you have the doctor's table, and you're choosing to focus on the kindergartners and what they think of you, when you already have these people saying, wow, like, I know what it took to become you. And that's amazing. But then you look at people in your life who are constantly walking around like angry at their own life and their own luck, and they have their fixed ideas of what you should and shouldn't be, and they know you're a people pleaser, and they know that the moment you sense that something is bothering them, you're going to fall into the role of, what can I do to help you? What can I do to change that? Oh, you're angry because I'm doing really well in life? Okay, let me stop doing well in life so that you're not angry anymore. Why would you do that to yourself? Not saying it from a judgmental place. I'm trying to wake you up. Sometimes people who know you're a people pleaser will make you the problem in their life so that you can change who you are, so that they could feel better about where they are in their life. You're up here and they're down here, and you're a people pleaser. They're going to keep poking at you and throwing arrows at you, jabs at you, jokes, making you feel insecure about certain things, so that you can spend all of your energy, instead of continuing to honor who you are and continuing to rise in your own life, you're spending all of your energy on trying to prove to them that you don't deserve all these things that they're doing to you. So you're falling bit by bit. And when you fall to their level or even below that, now they can say, oh, I'm good with you now. But also, look at where you are. I don't want you in my life anymore. Do you see how toxic that is? So what do you do to stop your people pleasing? The reason I gave you such harsh examples isn't to say that everybody in your life is going to be trying to take advantage of you, and everybody in your life is going to be this bad, and they're going to be trying this hard to break you down. It's sometimes the most extreme examples that make the most difference for us. In your daily life, if you are surrounded by healthy people and you recognize that your problem is that you need to learn how to set better boundaries, those healthy people will not make it so hard for you to let go of your people-pleasing tendencies. I'm talking about no longer being a people pleaser with people who bank on you being a people pleaser, with people who get pleasure out of just making you go down a spiral of trying so hard to please them. Maybe the starting point in becoming somebody who's not a people pleaser is taking it all the way back to this truth. No one is born a people pleaser. You are made into a people pleaser by getting trained to carry the burden of everybody else's emotions, of their troubles. You start to learn how to monitor other people's feelings and did they look at me a weird way, and are they upset, and maybe this thing that I do that has nothing to do with them upsets them, so I'm not going to do it. You start training to be a certain way and conduct yourself a certain way and speak a certain way and dress a certain way and exist a certain way so that somebody else can be more comfortable being themselves the way that they've chosen to be. It starts very early on in your life, from before you can even remember. You know, you hear a baby cry and there's anger around the baby, so the baby is afraid. So they start learning from a young age that every time I try to express myself in some way, I'm going to be met with anger and I'm going to be really scared. So I'm not going to express myself anymore. Or when I do express myself, it's going to be when I've just exploded. That's just one simple example. But it begins early on in your life. The reason you are now a people pleaser, or maybe a recovering people pleaser, started way before you can even remember. So give yourself some grace. It doesn't mean something's wrong with you. The fact that you try hard to be for people what you believe they need, even when it's really not your place, doesn't make you somebody who is fundamentally flawed. It makes you someone who cares about others. Okay? So value that beautiful part in it. But at the same time, you can draw the line where you ask yourself, has this person earned my help? Have they earned the part of me that tries really hard? Have they earned the part of me that loves really hard, that forgives, that gives them space? Have they earned all of those things? Or am I just giving them freely to anyone and everyone and completely forgetting about myself just because I don't know who I am without being seen by others as somebody who's a giver? Contemplate all those questions and reflect on them. What's your biggest fear of not being there for someone who clearly needs someone to be there for them? Do you honestly think that they'll see you as a bad person? You know, the moments when you're like, I can't not do the thing I always do because they know that that's not who I am. Like, they're going to see me as somebody who's selfish. They're going to see me as somebody who, oh, you've changed. Like, you used to be a certain way and you're not like that anymore. And what's your fear? Is your fear that they're going to see you as somebody who has boundaries and just walk away? Let them walk away. Doing things for others and being there for them and allowing them to rely on you doesn't make you a people pleaser. What makes you a people pleaser is not being able to see yourself as a good person or as a worthy person unless the people around you are pleased by you or that they're pleased in general. So you put all of your energy into trying to change their circumstances so that they're pleased, so that you can breathe and say, now I'm good. And in the process, you forget about your own need to rely on others. You forget about your own expectations. You forget about your own things that bring you peace and your own things in your life that are burdening you, the emotions you're dealing with. You're a people pleaser by definition when the only time that you feel okay within yourself is when the people around you, especially the ones that you care about the most, are at peace. And what happens when you're constantly surrounded by chaos, when you're constantly surrounded by people who will never be pleased by you or by anyone in their life? That's a hamster wheel that you're going to be on, and you're never going to be able to rest. It's your survival to keep trying, to keep monitoring, to keep saying, what can I do or not do to make them feel less this way? And you just go on that spiral. Maybe the answer, after recognizing where your people pleasing comes from, and after recognizing the patterns in your life that have led you to believe that your only value is based on the value that others see in what you have to offer. I repeat this so many times, but instead of saying I am, therefore I'm worthy, I do, therefore I'm worthy. Like, where does that belief come from? Because that's what makes you people please so badly. Because you think your value is nothing if you don't do more to earn that value. So maybe after recognizing all of that, and maybe after looking at all the people in your life who are continuing to put you on that hamster wheel of survival that says, I need to please you in order for me to feel okay about myself, or you need to be pleased about your life in order for me to feel okay about myself. I need to do whatever I can to contribute to your peace. Maybe after that, you say to yourself, maybe it'll take a while for me to extract this need to please other people in order for me to feel better about myself. Like, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a lot of discomfort. It's going to take those moments when I'm really tempted to do the thing that I always do that has always pleased somebody, but I recognize it's a form of abandoning myself because they don't deserve it, they don't appreciate it, etc. It's going to be so uncomfortable the first time that you say, I'm not doing that. Because then you're going to be left in that really shaky place that says, I know you're going to change the way you see me, and that scares me so much, but I'm going to do it anyway. And it might take 10 tries or 20 tries, but you can do it at some point. So maybe we put all of that aside and we say, I'm going to be on this journey of no longer becoming a people pleaser. But the most important thing every single day for me is that I wake up in the morning and I say, I have been working so hard to please everyone in my life. What can I do today to please myself? End of story. Period. And there's going to be that little voice of a relative, a lover, a friend, whoever has been depending on you to be that people pleasing in their life that's going to say, you're so selfish, like you're so self-centered, life isn't about yourself. And you're going to hear all those voices. And you're going to, I wrote about this in Welcome Home, by the way. You're going to just visually try to imagine that these voices are coming at you, and they might feel like two walls that are closing in on you, and you're literally going to push them away because they're trying to make you feel like, oh, you don't have much space to breathe when you're trying to no longer be a people pleaser. So like You're going to want the relief of us not caving in on you anymore by pleasing us. But instead of you doing that, you just say, I can move this away. Like, I can move your opinions and your judgments away. And I know it feels, you're listening to it, right? So I want you to actually try it. Imagine the opinions that are mostly judgmental of you, that are calling you names, that are saying things about you that aren't true. And instead of internalizing them and believing them, imagine that you are actually pushing them away with your arms. They're caving in on you, but you have the power to push them away. It really helps. And it also, this body language of having your arms out or up, or it feels like you're expanding into the world as opposed to the complete opposite where you're shrinking, right? So this physically feels better. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing what I'm doing, but if you're listening to me, you're probably like, what is she doing? I'm literally just moving my arms away from my body like I'm pushing two walls that are caving in on me. You can do that anytime that you feel like you're being judged for choosing to no longer be a people pleaser. And you're going to lose so many people. You know this. You're going to lose people. You're going to lose your status in some people's life. You're going to lose the way that some people used to refer to you, like, oh, she's the good one, and she's you can always rely on her, and blah, blah, blah. And now and they use all these ugly names, and you're selfish, and you're this, and you're that. It's going to be a lonely journey, but better a lonely journey with a few really good people around you who don't need you to break yourself in order for them to feel whole than a journey of so many people around you who rely on you breaking yourself to give them peace. Words that found me. I don't know who the author of these words are, but I hear them all the time. The only people who get upset when you set boundaries are those who benefited from you having none. I don't need to explain this one. And words from me to you. This is from the Book of Healing. It's originally from The Nectar of Pain. It's actually the very last page in The Nectar of Pain. And it's a favorite among you readers. And it's actually one of my favorites too. I remember when I wrote it, and I remember feeling so seen in the words because I knew I was a certain way, and I knew I cared a lot about people's feelings, and I knew that it bothered me if there was something I could do to help someone that I just didn't do. And I couldn't find anything that expressed what I was feeling, so I wrote it. Let me find it. This is titled, Because You Are a Good Heart. Here's the thing about people with good hearts. They give you excuses when you don't explain yourself. They accept apologies you don't give. They see the best in you when you don't need them to. At your worst, they lift you up, even if it means putting their priorities aside. The word busy does not exist in their dictionary. They make time even when you don't. And you wonder why they're the most sensitive people. You wonder why they're the most caring people. You wonder why they are willing to give so much of themselves with no expectation in return. You wonder why their existence is not so essential to your well-being. It's because they don't make you work hard for the attention they give you. They accept the love they think they've earned, and you accept the love you think you're entitled to. Let me tell you something. Fear the day when a good heart gives up on you. Our skies don't become gray out of nowhere. Our sunshine does not allow the darkness to take over for no reason. A heart does not turn cold unless it's been treated with coldness for a while. Yes, it's a great one. So you could see the place I was in when I wrote this, obviously, because now I would say, I will never do any of this for somebody who hasn't earned it, right? But we all go through stages of our lives, and we need the appreciation and the validation that we are giving so much of ourselves, and that there's a pain in giving when that giving is being treated like it's somebody's entitlement. but it feels like we have to exert so much of our energy to be able to give it. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, which I know you did, please leave a rating and a review wherever you're listening or watching. It just helps people in the world know that this is a great podcast that they should listen to. Also, I've noticed that since I started asking you guys to do this, more and more people are discovering the podcast like just from the platforms, as opposed to them following me and then going to find the podcast. So it really does help. Even if you just leave a star rating or 5-star rating, or leave a review, or share this to your story or to wherever you are on social media. Let people know, talk about the episodes out in public. And word of mouth has always been my favorite way of spreading wisdom and goodness and knowledge and healing. So I hope that you take part in spreading this. And I hope that this episode helped you find healing beyond words. And until next time, have a lovely day.